Alright guys, so I'm going to go over how I maintain my Superworm colony. I'm going to be completely breaking down my setup to collect loose worms in the substrate and to give the colony a fresh start. I started to see small superworms that had hatched from my egg collectors growing in the substrate, and later during the cleaning, I found that they were in the water bowl as well, and since I use water crystals, thankfully none had drowned while seeking moisture. First, let's get all of their hides out of the bin. We can get a better idea of the size and health of our colony. We found no dead or injured. Once everything is removed, I place a rearing bin under my sifter to sort the beetles and food from the substrate and worms. I will leave this substrate in this bin to let the worms grow. The beetles cannot climb, they are perfectly content waiting for me to set up their new home. I decided to try something new with the cardboard I give them by putting holes in their hides and burying them to create a tunnel system with more entry and exit points, since I have found they like to hang out upside down a lot. My intent is to use half of the bin and leave an area free of substrate to place their egg collectors to hopefully counteract the rate of worms getting loose into the substrate. After I bury their new home, I add a few more pieces of cardboard to give them more places to hide, and then I attempt to release them. They have very strong legs and will cling tightly to anything they can gain a grip on, even my hand. I find it best to allow them to move freely from the sifter. Despite all of the commotion of moving them, they are still happily ready to mate. I watched for a little while as they started to explore their new home, some making use of the tunnel system. I figured they would prefer this because during my video on how to sex Zophobus morio, I observed that they preferred the buried tunnel, as opposed to the one above it. Video link is in the card above. Next, I check my worms that are set to pupate and then the pupa themselves. I sort them on whether or not they are curled up or in their pupa state. Today, I got one new beetle. She is an absolute beauty. Do you know how I can tell? I place her into the bin with the rest of the colony and move to the next. If you are using a mesh system like the one at the top of my 3-tier enclosure, or like this smaller one, you can easily collect your eggs by pouring them into another container. Do not let these sit for too long because as the eggs hatch, the new wormlings may take a nom on the eggs that have yet to hatch, and you may lose overall yield. Now I check on the superworms I have been collecting to make sure I am having no deaths and that they are growing properly. This is the substrate we collected from the Superworm Colony. I'm going to see how many I get in the end with this bin so that I can make a rough estimate on how many I expect to get loose in the substrate. We give them some moisture and move on to our water bowls. As I have said before, I use water crystals and I keep reusing them for quite a while. Simply spray water into their bowl or pour it, and within minutes the orbs have completely absorbed all of the water, leaving no chances for any insects to drown. Now to take a quick look at the Discoid Roaches. I see they are growing, however the colony is still small. I do not use egg crates yet. I have their primary hide directly on top of a heating pad, and the females lay their young in the mossy section on the tinfoil. The adult roaches love to root around in the moss. I give the moss a quick spray and I'm done with them. Alright guys, that about covers it. If you can find it in your heart, click the subscribe button and hit the notification bell to see more videos like this in the future. Overall, it is a very simple process and you can make it as simple as you want to. I try to make life easier on myself, and hopefully you walk away from this video with at least something helping you. Tell me in the comments below if I helped. As always, from the Thegizards and I, have a wonderful day.